Hello, everyone. My name is Derek Truesdell, and I just wanted to take a few minutes today to try and be an encouragement. So, many of us are having changes hit our lives because of this, virus and the pandemic and sheltering in place. So, things have been different, and there's different ways that we can choose to deal with that situation. So, we can choose to just get through it, or we can choose to, keep our relationship with God strong and to even maybe grow through these circumstances. And an example I thought was a good one from the Bible is Daniel. So if we look at Daniel chapter 1, we see a circumstance that he was in. And if we just look at the setting of Daniel, it's interesting because it's around the year 600 BC, which is like the very beginning of the Western culture. So Western culture is getting started in Greece. You have Israel, then you have Persia, which is the city of Babylon, um, and that's all happening around the same time. So 600 BC, an interesting time. That's where Daniel is set. But for Daniel specifically, he's taken from his hometown of Jerusalem and brought to um, Babylon, and he's going to serve the king there named Nebuchadnezzar. We find all this in Daniel 1. And what's encouraging about him is that obviously this is a different circumstance for Daniel because he's taken from his home in Jerusalem, brought to a new land, and then what that king there is doing is whenever he conquers a land, he's taking the very best of the people from that land and making them his servant, and taking the very best, so he'll have the very best servants for himself. And Daniel's one of these people that he chooses to do that. So what's happening with Daniel is to begin the whole thing, he's going to give him new food and new drink to help him to get stronger. But with Daniel and his friends, they had strict dietary laws in their Bible. We don't have those today, but in that time it was very important. So he asked the people there if he could just continue his biblical dietary laws, and they said okay. So they do that for a time, and it comes to be that they become 10 times better than the other people that are following the king's dietary laws, and so they're allowed to continue that way. And that's encouraging, I think, because he's in a different context. This is not what he's used to. He's taken from his homeland, brought to a new homeland, new rules, new everything. And he chooses in that circumstance to keep following what he knew to be correct. And that's encouraging because we can do the same thing. We're in different circumstances now. Things are a little bit more difficult and things are uncertain. And in these times, we can choose to keep pursuing God, to keep our relationship with God strong. So we can choose to keep, reading our Bibles in a big way and keep, praying. Make sure we're keeping strong in those things, even in different times, even when structure is not there any longer and things are different than what we're used to. So we can continue in that way, and that's from Daniel. Another way Daniel is encouraging to us is because he didn't choose to just, keep alive in the circumstances and just get through it. He chose to grow even in these circumstances. So as we look at Daniel, we see that it says that when he was questioned about the culture and things pertaining to wisdom, he was 10 times better than the other people. So he's learning that new culture very well. Like he is embracing the change and getting better because of it, and he's growing and from the situation 10 times better than the other people. So we can be encouraged by that because some of us have more time now because of like furloughed jobs or whatever situation. A lot of us are rethinking things and where's our life right now, where do we want it to be. And we can take encouragement from Daniel because we can grow in these times. Take these times, don't just get through it, but maybe choose to do new things, get closer to Christ because we have this extra time. We can maybe read a new Christian book we wanted to read, or listen to Christian songs, and maybe even besides those things, learn a new skill that we've been wanting to learn. So we can choose to embrace this time and use it to our advantage and be able to grow from this and not just get through it. So um, I thought this was an encouragement from Daniel. We can choose to, in these new circumstances, we can choose to keep as much structure as we can in our lives and keep reading our Bible, keep praying, make sure we don't slip on those things, but also we can change, we can grow because of these things and even get closer to Christ. So um, Daniel's kind of an imperfect picture in the Old Testament that's pointing to the perfect picture, which is Jesus. So we want to follow after Jesus, be like Daniel, and that we're maintaining a relationship with God, and then also changing to become more like Christ, the one that we're trying to become more like and follow after God. So I hope this was an encouragement, and I pray for you all to stay healthy out there, and I'll see you next time.